Hey guys, welcome to my Love's fanfic. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna be more shirtless when I don't have any shirt right now. Weird. Okay, anyways, let's get back into another one shot that I'm gonna be reading. And I know it's gonna be very uncomfortable while I'm just wearing shirtless. I'm just being shirtless right now, so. And no, this is not a thing because I don't do looking at this. So, you know what? I'm just gonna wear a shirt. This is so awkward. Much better. So, we're on to the next one shot. And it's called You Got Me Like Miss. And this will probably wrap up our week 8. Alright, so I'm gonna read out the summary. So, this is a Christmas theme involved. There's a pining, there's a fluff. That's all. That's all we have in this one shot. So, what's the summary for this? Okay. Christmas holds a special place in Landstar. A time for family, friends, and love. So what better way to ask out and hopefully make out with his good friend and longtime crush than with a little romantic Christmas tree shopping. So this is for this one shot. This is for Christmas. I know there's gonna be a Christmas right now, and we have just finished the Christmas in July. I'm gonna record. So I record this in July. So hey, we'll have to celebrate the July, but this will be going to August, so it's not little Christmas anymore. But let's pretend there is. All right. Without any further ado, let's read this next one. Read this one shot. Okay. Okay. You got me like mistletoe. All right. First part is the text. So let's go at it. Hey, Keith. How's my favorite Billy Idol fanboy doing? Working on paper. Fascinating. Why are you texting me then? Wait for Paige to come back with my coffee. Aw, and here I thought I was special. I could be ignoring you like I am with Shiro. Good point. But he's probably asking you about your paper, and I'm here to talk about something infinitely more interesting. We got roughly 5 minutes before Pitch comes back, and I put my phone on silent. Luckily, I work well under pressure. What do you want, Lance? Glad you asked. What are you doing tomorrow? This essay. Boring. Cancel it. Cancel my schoolwork. Why did I think of that? Okay, rephrasing. Put it off for another day. Or finish it today. Either way. Why? Because you're coming Christmas tree hunting with me tomorrow. What about Hunk? He's your roommate. Nah, he's busy. So, you in? I guess. It's gonna be the best dang Christmas tree hunt you ever been on. Well, I've never been on one, so. What the heck? We always just had the same one. What, like a fake one? Yeah. Oh no. Keith, no. Now you have to come with me. Fine. When? I'll pick you up after your last class. How long will it take? All day. Clear your schedule. Why? Because afterwards we're decorating it and watching movies with hot chocolate. Okay, but why? Because it's cozy AF, that's why. Fair, I guess. I'm not taking no for an answer. Looks like I don't have a choice. Glad you understand. See you tomorrow. Go do your paper. Kill me. No can do, buddy. We got plans now. Okay, so this is just the portion of the text. We are planning on before the Christmas coming by, and they're telling each other about the tree hunting, and that's where they're doing right now. Yeah. All right, let's get on to the story as we're done with the text part. So let's get on with it. It's perfect, Lance says, throwing hands up in a gesture that encompasses the entire tree. Barely, anyway. The tree is huge and it's perfect. His hands fall to settle at his hips, wide grin spreading his lips. as Tilt set to gaze up at it. That's never going to fit in your apartment. His shoulders droop immediately, face falling flat in amusement, lips pursed to a small frown. His weight shifts to one hip, cocking out as he mimics. That's never going to fit your apartment, he mocks, turning his head to glare at Keith, pointing an accusing finger at him. Not with that attitude, it won't. Keith just eyes him, arms crossed over his chest, one eyebrow raised and corner of his lips twitching as he fights a smile. His eyes dance with amusement, reflecting the lights hanging above him. It makes Lance's heart do this weird little stutter before pounding beneath his ribs, makes his stomach go all fluttery and his knees weak. It isn't anything new, but it hits him with a suddenness all the same. It's cute. Too damn cute for his own good. Or Lance's. A jerk. Lance, how tall are your ceilings? He asked, expression unchanging, voice flat and patient despite the lilt of amusement at the edge of his words. Lance blinks, brown fading as he straightens, brows pinching and falling. I don't know, like 8 feet? That's standard, right? And how tall is the street? Lance opens his mouth and snaps it shut before turning away from him, eyes sweeping across the tree for the little sign attached to it. He has to take a few steps forward and around it, grab for the little piece of paper wrapped around the plastic sleeve. Tree type, where it's from, price, and height. He frowns, bottom lip pursing into a small pause. He turns to narrow his eyes to Keith. Why'd you always be a party pooper? He shrugs, losing the fight with his rising smile and letting his lips curl upward. It's amused, it's smug, it's cocky. It crinkles his eyes at the corner and is one of Lance's favorite Keith smiles. God, Lance really just wanted to kiss it off his stupid face. His stupid, beautiful face. All pale and dangling fluorescent lights that hang over the tree yard, cheeks and roasting from the chill. Someone's gonna keep you from buying a tree that won't fit through your door. Yeah, Lance ups, shoving his hands back into his pockets, back hunching as he makes his way back to Keith. With his gloves on, he can't feel the brush of leaves in his pocket, or the silk from the little red bough. But he can feel the shape of it, the stem, the leaves, the ribbon. It doesn't have berries, but it doesn't need to. He could have gotten a fake one with berries for the aesthetic, but he wanted a real one. Seems more sentimental that way. And if it works, he'll hang the plant up to dry and save it, because he's sentimental like that. And if it doesn't work, well, he'll find a hole and bury himself in it with instructions to carve a mistletoe into his gravestone, because sentimental like that. What about that one? Lance looked at the sea key pointing to a tree coupled down from one he was looking at. He's already walking toward it, gesturing to it offhandedly before crossing his arm back over his chest. It's manageable. Full branches, they surprise. Nope, Lance is already shaking his head. He frowns him. Browsberg. Why not? Lance gives him flat stare. Keith, it's shorter than you. Keith arches an eyebrow. So it's not. He trails off, lips pressing and hand waving around. Christmassy, you know. Keith hops aside, breath puffing out wide between his lips. Lance, what does that even mean? Everyone knows trees have to be taller than you, he says with an offhanded shrug of his shoulders. He just gives him a blank stare. I'm pretty sure that's not a rule. It is. Lance insists with a scoop, lifting his chin a little as he turns, dismissing Keith's choice as his eyes scan over the other costumes. If I don't have to struggle to put the star on top, then what's the point? I don't see the problem with a short tree. Keith mumbles behind him, and he glances over her shoulder to see. Yep, definitely a pound. A cute little pal with a fur brows and plump lips pursed. Cute. Lance feels his lips quirk to a small smile. You just want a tree that makes you feel taller. Keith's gaze snapped to his eyes narrowed. Lance, I'm not that. Whatever you say, buddy, he says, closing the gap between them and slinging his arm around Keith's shoulders, pulling him in close and leaning over to rest his head against Keith's. It fits so well against Lance's side, warm and hard, like a jagged puzzle piece that just happens to match up his own. His hair curls out from beneath his black beanie, tickling Lance's cheek and neck. He wants to turn his head and press his lips to Keith's cheek, his nose, his lips, feel the chill of the air on his skin. The mistletoe in his pocket is an insistent reminder in his pocket, fingers playing with the stem, hearts hammering against the ribs, lungs drawing in shallow breaths. nerves tingling along his arms, legs shaking. So short, he says, instead. Breath coming out of his eye. It sounds amused and lighthearted, but it feels like defeat. Later, he tells himself, later. He doesn't pull away from him, and he counts that as a win. Where are we going? He asks for more, walking inside as Lance steers in through the rows of trees, back to the parking lot. Back to the car. What? Keith stops, and Lance keeps going, arm slipping away from his shoulders, hand diving into his pocket as he turns around to walk backwards. Keith watches him, brows furrowed and lips twisting in confusion. Lance shrugs. The perfect tree wasn't here. We still got at least 3 more places to go. Keith gapes at him, brows raising and mouth falling open. Lance turns as he reaches the old pickup truck Hunk let him borrow for a day. It's a little worse for wear. Worn leather seats and chipped gold paint, but it's sturdy and reliable. He opens the driver's side door and eyes keep spinning. Finally, he says, no wonder Hunk ditched you. Lance scoops, they both slide into their seats, slamming the door shut behind him as he turns the key ignition. Excuse you. Hunk usually goes to at least 5 or 6 different places before he settles on the tree. As the engine roars to life before settling down into a loud, vibrant hum. Lance bends over, smirking as he catches Keith gaping at him, lips parted and eyes wide. You're kidding. Lance just smirks as he throws the truck into reverse. I wish I was, dude. I really wish I was. So they have the first stop at one of the stores, and they're finding a tree that they are looking for, just to set up and make sure that that's the tree that Lance wanted, but not Keith, because Lance wanted to have the tree that is way taller than him, so that Keith can put that star on top of it. That make it easier, right? Right? No, it's hard, and they're really at the Christmas tree hunt. They're tree hunting right now. They're gonna have to find a tree that it will definitely subscribe to his, match his description. I have a good feeling about this one, Lance says, shifting the truck into park and cutting the engine. In front of them sprawls yet another grouping of Christmas trees, all fenced in, lined up in rows, dangling lights from above. Another place, a different name, but Lance has a feeling about this one. He can't really explain it. Maybe it's just hopeful optimism. Maybe it's just impatience. Maybe it's the plant burning a hole in his pocket or his nerves beginning to fray. Either way, he's got a feeling. You said that about the last 2 places, he grumbles, unbuckling his seatbelt and throwing his door open before slipping out into the ignition. Yeah, but this time I mean it, he says as they come around the car, leaning up in front of it and walking side by side into the makeshift mini forest. As thrilled as he is to have Keith here with him, it turns out they can't agree on anything. Lance wants a big tree. His man has always got a big tree, something that pushes the limits of their ceilings. A big tree means more ornaments, and with a big family comes a lot of ornaments. A lot of ornaments, a whole evening of decorating the tree, taking turns through the years for who gets to put the star on top. It's not Christmas if someone isn't being lifted onto someone else's shoulders to reach the top. Keith, by comparison, is drawn to the short trees, the small ones. They're more practical, he says. Easier to manage while still clear of being tree-like. Less branches means less of a cleanup. Less branches means more simplistic decorating. Being short means they can reach everywhere on the tree. A small tree makes more sense in its apartment. And Lance knows that, but it's hard to give up a time-honored tradition. Besides, Hunk likes big trees too. Last year they settled on a tree that barely fit through their front door, the top of which folded against the ceiling. It took up far too much room in the corner. They had to rearrange the living room to fit it, but it had been working. He doesn't seem to get it, but it's cute. It's cute to see him pout and grumble when Lance says a tree's too short. He likes bickering with Keith when he tries to keep Lance from getting a tree that's too big. It's not heated. Neither of them are frustrated, just friendly jabs, pokes, and prods. It's comfortable, and more than not, their words are accompanied by a poorly concealed smile. Unfortunately, all the bickering means tree hunting takes a lot longer than he anticipated. Fortunately, all the extra time gives him more opportunity to put his plan into action. Not that he's taking any of them. however. The plan had been simple in design, but ingenious all the same. Heck, even Hitch was impressed. Hunk teared up a little bit when he ran by him, giving Lance's blessing gracefully stepping aside so Lance could take Heat tree hunting alone. Despite the fact that Hunk loves tree hunting, he owes him a big time. Plan itself, carry a mistletoe with him, and when the time seems right, pull it out and charm his way into a smooch. Follow up by spilling his guts in a hopefully romantic fashion that doesn't resemble word vomit and ask the boy out. Hopefully, boy says yes. Then boom, boyfriend statues acquired. Easy in theory, harder in execution. The mistletoe is so simple and innocent, but it's burning a hole in his pocket. Every time he touches it, his heart speeds up. The breath comes short, and anxious nerves make his lips shake. He's gotten so far as to grip the stem between his fingers, whole arm tense as he waited to pull it out. But then he had looked at him, had smiled, and Lance things turned to jelly along with the rest of the nerves. He wants to do it. Oh boy, does he want to do it. He looks so freaking cute, snuggled up in his leather jacket, red scarf nestled around his neck, black beanie on with hair curling around the edges, cheeks and nose pink, dark eyes reflected and expressive, smile small and secretive as he feasts at Lance. A secret between just the two of them. A smile just a smile meant just for him. Gosh dang, he wants to kiss this boy, but he just can't. Their friends think Lance stands a good shot. They tease him a good deal, but they wouldn't have encouraged him if they knew it was doomed to fail. They're not that cruel. Embarrassing themselves is one thing, humiliating himself is another. But even with their encouragements, he can't quite bring himself to just do it because there are always that voice in the back of his mind. What if? What if he says no? What if it doesn't feel the same way? What if this just makes it awkward for here on out? Lance can deal with awkward. What he can't deal with is losing Keith as a friend. He has everything to gain, but everything to lose. And that has the Mistletoe weighting his pocket down with far more uncertainty than he was planning on. At the last few places, he chickened out more times than he liked to count. He builds himself up to it, talks so well, steals himself, and lifts his chin. Fingers curling around the stem as he strides toward Keith, and then Keith turns around and Lance stops in his tracks, blood pounding in his ears. He's just way too good, way out of his league. He's lucky that he even wants to be his friend, and pushing himself seems like a terrifying prospect. So it ends up not doing anything. When we each fail attempt, another weight is added to his shoulders, to his heart, pulling him down, putting a slump to his posture, and dragging in his steps. His plan had seemed so good, and now he's out every decision that has led up to it. He ends up trudging after Keith through rows of trees. He points to the bigger tree that would have more than anything, and to hide the small smile that tugs at his lips when Keith rolls his eyes and bumps him with his shoulder before walking away, leaving Lance to trail after him. Whenever Keith points out a small tree, Lance just scoops, muttering something under his breath that has Keith shoving him, only for him to shout back. Laughter on the tip of their tongues. It's familiar, and it's comfortable. They walk side by side, arms brushing, shoulders bumping. Keith's hands hang at his sides instead of in his pockets, exposed fingertips from his practical gloves tenting in the lamplight. Lance wants to reach out and take his hand, pull it into his own pocket until the guys keeping him warm, but doesn't. His hands curl into fists, ignoring the press of mistletoe against his knuckles. He's so lost about staring up at a tree that's tall enough that even he has to admit it'll never fit through the door. Maybe he should have let Hunk come to him. But at least then Hunk would have been the backbone he needs, and a constant source of encouragement when his doubts get the best of him. But no, he wanted to do this on his own. He was certain that he could. He could have known better. Should have known his steeled nerves would melt when faced with Keith's beautiful, stupid smile. Pretty eyes, pretty little delicate nose. The way he tilts his head just slightly, making his bangs fall across his forehead, eyes squinting and sparkling with amusement as his smile raised his cheeks. Lance! He snaps out of his reverie, back straight as he head whips around the sound of his name. He automatically lifts a leg, spin on his heel, and start off in this direction, drawn to inextricably like a moth to a flame. He's standing a few yards away, and when Lance raises an eyebrow and sound question, he gestures to the tree beside him. What about this one? Looks proud, so sorry, confident in a way that's so completely key. Whole being on board idea, no room for doubt. Len stops next to him, turning to inspect the tree project. The first thing he notices is that it's not as short or small as the other trees he has pointed out. In fact, it's taller than Lance, not quite as tall as some of the ones he had been looking at, but not bad. His eyes at the top of it curiously, lips pursed in thought, nodding slowly. Despite the tip being a little bent, he thinks he had to stretch to reach it, but it would definitely fit comfortably in his apartment, which is perfect. His eyes trailed down the rest of the tree. As it turns out, the height is the only thing perfect about it. The branches are a little lopsided, not overly so, but enough that gives the tree an odd shape. Bigger on one side than the other, off balance. The branches are a little patchy, thicker in some places and thinner in others, enough so that he can see straight through to the trunk in a couple spots. The lower branches hang low, looking detached from the rest of the tree and brushing the ground as if they might fall off at any moment. Lance lips twist a little as he slowly walks around the tree, inspecting it closely, poking at the branches and running his gloved hands along the pine. Normally he would have dismissed it already, or at least given running commentary on why it was anything but perfect. But the look Keith had given him makes him hold his tongue. He had looked so sure, so certain. He had looked at Lance like he knew this was the one. And honestly, Lance trying to find what Keith sees in it. It's patchy, lopsided, a little bent, branches uneven, needs shedding. I know it's not much, he says as Lance comes around the other side of the tree. He glances up, surprised to find Keith shifting his weight from foot to foot, fingers flexing at his side before he crosses his arms over his chest. He's pointedly not making eye contact, instead keeping his eyes glued on the tree, the ground, the space around him. It's not perfect or anything, he says with a shrug, like he's trying to look offhanded and indifferent. The tone of his voice ruins the illusion, though. There's something there, something that clues Lance into the fact that while he's trying to brush it off, he cares about this a lot more than he wants to admit. Lance just watches him, straightening a little, hands in his pockets, tree beside him forgotten. But it's the right height. You have to stretch or whatever, and it'll fit in your apartment. He continues when Lance remains silent, a rambling to fill his hands, to explain stuff. It's as odd as it is fascinating. Usually that's what Lance does, not Keith. It's not too big, so it won't take up a lot of room. You can hide the bad spots against the wall or something. It's not perfect, but it has character. It's unique, even though it's different. His eyes drift downward, brows firm as he stares hard at his boots. Two of them idly ding in the dirt. And if we don't take it, I'm not sure anyone else will. He says the last part like a begrudging mumble, like a secret he's not really willing to let go of, but does anyway. Lance looks at the tree, looks over its patches and low-hanging branches, its lopsided look and twisted limbs. He thinks Keith is right. If they don't take it, he's not sure anyone else will. No one wants a broken-looking tree. They want perfect, symmetrical, full. They don't want small, broken, patchy, lopsided, odd. His gaze drifts back to Keith, and a lot of things click into place, and a lot of things that have his gut twisted and his heart aching. The mistletoe in his pocket burns more than ever, the heavy weight that matches the one in his chest. He continues to stare at the ground, face pinched, arms crossed, boot mercilessly digging into the dirt. He wants to kiss this boy, wants to hold him tight and kiss him until all that tension leaves him, until he sees himself the way Lance does, until he smiles again. Instead, he looks back at the tree, looks over from bottom to top, stares at the tip, and yeah, you can totally see his star perch up there. It's perfect, he says, voice soft, genuine. Really? Keith sounds a little breathless. And when Lance tilts his head to look at him, he's looking at him with word disbelief. So Lance smiles, small and soft, tries to convey everything that's simple and hopes he gets across. Yeah, he says, it's perfect. All right, they have found the tree that they're looking for. Everything that Lance described and all the matched up, but the description of the tree is not that good of that tree, but that fits that would fit the requirements that Lance needs, Keith needs. They just found a tree and now they can just grab that tree and decorate it and there you go. Christmas starts soon, very soon. But the secret thing, there's another thing that it's not just for the tree hunting that was for it. There's something else that Lance wanted to do with Keith because there's that mistletoe. He's still holding that mistletoe for a long time. If he's holding that mistletoe above Ryan and Keith, you know what that means. It's a makeout. Alright. Alright, let's go back to the story. Shouldn't Hunk be helping you decorate? Keith asked when where he scratched on the floor, picking through ornaments in the box on the coffee table. Nah, well, yeah, probably. But he said it's alright, as long as we set aside Star Trek ornaments so we can put those up. Lance says, offhandedly, gesturing to the pile of boxes on the other end of the table. Hunk has a bit of a collection, one that started when he was younger. Nearly 10 fancy ornaments, most of which some sort of sound, all of which make those sounds the second they plug the tree it. It makes for a jumbled mess, but it sounds like home. It finishes draping the last line of lights around the tree before shuffling over to the outlet, plugging it in and stepping back, hands on his hips to admire his handiwork. The lights aren't perfectly spaced. They aren't even. They have to go up and down to compensate for the lopsided branches. But the sporadic randomness of all gives it, like he had said, character. He finds that he likes it. Perfect, he says, grinning as he turns to Keith, who's eyeing the tree with a small smile on his lips before he catches Lance watching him. He looks down quickly, burying his eyes in the ornament box, but not before Lance catches sight of the pink on his cheeks. This time he knows it's not from the cold. I can't believe you still have these, he says, lifting a couple ornaments from the box. They're simple silver bulbs, but there's paint on them that decorate them into something special. Messy designs, sloppy words, one of Hunk's name and the other with Lance's, both marked with the year they joined Altea University. They had made them at the Christmas floor meeting that Ari had made them attend their freshman year. They had sat around with the rest of the people from their floor making cheap ornaments, shoving to the corner with Keith and Pitch. Of course we still have them, Lance says, crouching down next to him and reaching over to dig through the box. We should also have, aha, yours and Pidge's too, he says proudly, lifting up his hand to dangle the two ornaments in question, one decorated in red and the other in green. He grins, displaying them proudly. Keith grinches. Ugh, they're so ugly. Lance sticks out his final lip, raspberry. Excuse you, these are memories, and memories are beautiful. He stands, walking over to the tree to hang Keith and Pidge's ornaments front and center, where they can both be displayed proudly. We should have ones made by Cheryl, Alora, Matt, and Corinne in there too. Why do you keep all of them? Keith asks, hands full of ornaments as he stands and makes his way over to Lance's side, taking his time picking each branch and hang each ornament with far more care than necessary. It makes Lance's chest squeeze, fondness warm bubbling in his tongue. He shrugs, going back to pick up more ornaments to keep his hands busy, before he does something stupid, like go over to where he's abandoned his jacket, or pull out that gosh darn mistletoe. In my family, we almost never throw away ornaments, no matter how crappy or old or ridiculous they are. If they break, we have to fix them. We have so many ugly ones that we all made in grade school, and a bunch of really stupid ones my parents have gotten as gag gifts over the years. But each one is special, and each one is memory. We keep them and we use them every year, and I just can't imagine Christmas without them. Smile. You can feel it at the edge of his mouth. Tugging upward like it always does when he thinks about his family's traditions. When he feels Keith's eyes on him, he glances over, seeing him watching through his lashes. Looks away quickly, clearing his throat, and stepping around the tree to hang more ornaments. Hunk's family basically has the same kind of tradition. So since we can't really go home for the holidays anymore, we decided to start saving ornaments a couple of years ago so we could build up our own collection. That's Heat starts turning off. Lance peeks around the tree to see him standing there, eyes soft and lit as he hangs an ornament of a chili pepper sitting in an outhouse with the door cracked open. One of the gag gifts from his older brother a couple years ago, and one of his favorites. Keith smiles small. Small that Lance isn't sure it really counts, but it makes his entire expression soft on the same. Makes Lance insides do little flips. That's really cute. I like that. And now you're part of it. Lance is grinning as he comes around the tree. He walks across the living room to the kitchen, picking up the ornament he left sitting there, carefully out of sight. Well, you already were, technically, but now even more so. He turns, brandishing it with a flourish. Keith has been watching him, brow arched curiously, but his eyes settle on the ornament that dangles from Lance's fingers. His eyes widen, mouth dropping open. Oh my gosh, you didn't. I did, Lance says proudly, striding back across the apartment. In his hands is the robot they intended to make out of paperless and rubber bands a week ago, while locked away in the library and both in desperate need to procrastinate. It's not a pretty robot, but it barely even looks like a robot, but it's theirs. Lance made a chain out of more paper clips to hang it with and tied up the end with a red ribbon. I can't believe you kept that, he says, but it's just an ounce too breathless and the music crinkles the corner of his eyes. I told you, Kate, memories, he says, putting himself into a low bow and holding out the makeshift ornament. He looks up at him through his lashes, lopsided smirk curving his lips. Would you do the honors of putting it on the tree for the first time? Oh my god, Kate mumbles, but he's smiling, barely containing laughter in his words, and he takes the biblical monstrosity in careful fingers. You're such a dork. Yeah, Lance says, string, bobbing his head against Keats as he walks by, showing him where to playful one. But he seemed to like hang out with me. He's prepared for a roll of his eyes, for a playful scoop, for a mumble whatever. What he's not prepared for is the fond look Keats sends him and the curious thought. Yeah, yeah, I do. All the memories that they have to put in with the ornaments now. We got the tree, check. Now we have the lights. Boom, we got the lights. And we have the ornaments to be placed on. And then with Keith's family, Lance family has that little tradition of even the ornaments are a little worn out and it's very bad, they would fix it and then they could put it back together and just rebrand it the whole ornament like it was just new. If he'll do the same, he'll do the same because they're all memories. Because one of their fans gave them like a gag gift, and each of those gifts are memories. Yeah, and they have to follow that memory through and through until when Christmas goes along with it. I mean, because they miss their family and a lot of Christmas stuff. But I spend a lot of time for myself for spending time for Christmas with my family because every tradition that we have because we always do. We always wear pajamas. We always wear PJs. Every time that we are doing Christmas stuff or anything like that, it is it is the tradition that we always do. 100%. That's what my family do. That's a true story. I think it's somewhere on my Instagram or anywhere like that. You can find that photo on my Instagram, by the way. It's so I have to add my hand. I have to drop you know what? Anyways, but it's Mike 10 Lanaris. It's Mike 10 Lanurias. That's my Instagram, guys. If you want to follow me. Okay, let's get back to it. Keith, get on my back. We can just get the chair. No, there's no time. Lance, what the hell? Just get on my back. We can just use a chair. That's no fun. Get on my back. You're going to drop me. You're like a too big. Oh my. Keith, for heaven's sake, you're not exactly a bodybuilder yourself. Now get on my back before I hoist you over my shoulder, fireman style. And I guarantee you it's a lot harder to put on a star on a tree that way. Glares at Keith over his shoulder from where he's crouched in front of him. Arms positioned by his sides and reaches to pick Keith up. If he actually get on his back, he just glares right back from him before his eyes go on the star lands that shot into his hand before his gaze lifts to the top of the tree. Why do I have to do it anyway? Because you're my guest. But it's your tree. We have a tradition that we take turns. I did it last year anyway, and it's your first time decorating our tree. So the job is rightfully yours. But Keith, I want you to do it. Now, get on back and let's do this. Keith huffs, but finally concedes. Shoulders slumping just a fraction in defeat as he shuffles forward. Hesitates from the board, climbing onto Lance's back. Uncertain hands wrapping frantically around Lance's shoulders when he stands up quickly. Lance smirks but says nothing as he walks over to the tree, turning a bit side so Keith can stretch up and carefully put the star on top. They wait for a moment, Keith's hand hovering nearby in case it falls. When they're certain it's good, Lance steps back. Keith still on his back as they look over the tree. Perfect, Lance says with a decisive nod, smile spreading his lips as he takes it all in. Yeah, he mumbles, soft as he sighs contentedly, arms wrapping lazily around Lance's shoulders, Hale tilting to lean against his. All it would take is for him to turn his head. They're close enough. He easily capture Keith's lips with his own. But he doesn't. He stays where he is, enjoys the warmth and weight of Keith on his back, cursing himself for not thinking about just hanging the gosh darn mistletoe in an apartment instead. Oh boy, Lance, you completely forgot about that mistletoe. So you already put up the star on the top of the tree? Good. Then now this mistletoe part is still missing. And that would complete this whole thing. He ends up deciding the plant is a bust. If plants had eyes, the silver mistletoe would be glaring at him from across the room, from where it sits abandoned in his jacket pocket as he stands. He can practically feel it judging him. Feels it like a weight on his heart, a pit in his stomach, a silver of sour disappointment that's wedged into his spine. But that's okay. Maybe we'll try again for another day. For now, he snuggles up against Keith on the couch. Lights are off, save for the Christmas lights coming from the tree in the corner of the room. They're on their second movie, empty popcorn bowl and two mugs on the coffee table in front of them. He's changed into a t-shirt and his fleece pajama pants, and Keith has borrowed a shirt and a pair of sweats. It makes paying attention to the movie difficult. With Keith all comfy in his clothes, nestled under a blanket that they're sharing, curled up next to him, especially when he leans his head against Lance's shoulder, like it's the most natural thing in the world, pressed up against his side in the best of ways. Lance isn't really sure what's going on movie-wise, but he doesn't really care. Doesn't really care that his plan never got put into action. Because when it comes down to it, he's warm, he's comfortable, he's curled up on the couch with Keith. And really, that's what's important. He'll take it. He can't wait for the rest. He can't wait for the rest. If there's a rest. And if there's not, if this all he's gonna get, well, he'll deal with that too. As long as it means Keith will stay in his life. As long as he gets to have moments like these. At some point, Keith sits up, stretching his hands over his head with a groan as his back pops. Blanket falling loosely around his waist. Lance watches as he stands up, admiring how his shirt is a little too long on him, how the sweatbands hang low on his hips and pull around his ankles. Want another round? He asks, reaching out to take two empty mugs and turns to lift around Lance. He nods, pulling the blanket further around him and Keith absence. Sounds good, dude. Keith shuffles away into the kitchen, and Lance can hear him setting the mugs now, digging around in the cupboards. Starting toward the wall, he breathes in deep and sighs loud and long through his nose. He finally feels like he can breathe, but his side is cold and his chest aches. He zones out. Eyes on the TV screen were already singing. He hopes Keith won't ask him that he missed when he comes back, because Lance won't be able to tell him. He doesn't hear the soft shuffle of sock feet leave the kitchen. Doesn't realize Keith is coming up behind him until a hand falls over his eyes. Soft palms, calf fingers. Uh, Keith? Yes. stiffening, awareness creeping into his soul. The hand over his eyes pull his head back until it's resting on the back of the couch. Turn toward the ceiling. It's not exactly comfortable, but it's not uncomfortable either. Can I help you? The hand lifts from his face, and he blinks for a moment as eyes refocus. He's standing behind the couch, leaning over him. The hand that had been over his eyes now rests on the back of the couch beside him. The other, Lance freezes, feels his blood run cold. Stomach dropping even as heart lodges itself in his throat. And his eyes widen, zeroing in on the mistletoe that Keith is holding on his other hand. He says, voice cracking immediately and praying to mess that Keith had heard that. He licks his lips, trying to swallow past the lump in his throat. His eyes flicker from the mistletoe to Keith's face. Where'd you get that? Keith doesn't look at him. He leans forward, propping his elbow on the back of the couch instead of his hand, putting that much closer. Oh gosh, he's so close. His face is relaxed, almost indifferent as he stares at the plant in his hand, spinning the stem daily between his fingers. Your jacket pocket. He hums thoughtfully, turning the plant over as if inspecting it. Though Lance knows he knows exactly what it is. You've been fiddling with your pocket and acting weird all night. I wanted to know what you were hiding. His eyes look at Lance did, hitting him with his gaze. His dark eyes reflect the colorful lights from Christmas tree. Lance, he says slowly. Honest curiosity and what Lance dares to think is amusement within edge of himself. Was this supposed to be a date? And honestly, Lance really just wants to freaking die on the spot. His face feels like it's burning. His heart is trying to break its way through his ribs. He's not really sure how he's to breathe, or if he even is at all. He contemplates the merit of escaping to his room, locking himself away and refuses to come out until he leaves. But he catches sight of the small smile curving the edges of his lips. Very slow tilt. The way his eyes soften, going half lit as he gazes down. There's no judging there. Nothing to suggest he's upset at this turn of events. There's amusement, yeah, but it's not a bad kind of amusement. It's what gives Lance the courage to open his mouth and say, it is if you want it to be. It comes out as a soft whisper. But he's proud of how it doesn't waver. And then the impossible happens. He leans down and kisses him. It's soft, not hesitant or uncertain, but soft and gentle all the same. Lips chapped and warm. Lips that Lance had spent so long staring at. Lips that taste like salt and popcorn and chocolate. Lips that taste like heat. The kiss is a question and answer all in one. This kiss is everything Lance ever hoped for and yet completely new for him. His toes curl in delight, warmth flaring down his spine. Feels dizzy and lightheaded, and I was pretty sure he's having trouble breathing, but he can't quite bring himself to care. When he pulls away, he doesn't go far, just enough to meet Lance's eyes. The smile in the way that has Lance smile back. And then he's reaching out, grabbing Keith by the shoulders and catching him off guard as he pulls, awkwardly resting Keith over the back of the couch. He falls into his lap in a mess of limbs, earning a pained grunt from both of them, but Lance doesn't really care. He cups Keith's cheeks and pulls him forward, kissing him fully, kissing him more purposely, kissing him with everything he's got, trying to convey all the things he doesn't know how to put into words. There's only a moment of surprise, hesitation before Keith relaxes him, kissing him back with enough vigor that Lance groans slow in his throat, contentment and thrill sweeping through him like a storm. Arms around shoulders, fingers curl into his hair, but all he can focus on are the lips beneath his own. Don't crush the mistletoe, he says against Keith's mouth, breath coming heavy and matching Keith's. He can feel the plant tighten Keith's grip, pressing against his shoulder. I want to save it. Oh my god. He whispers against lips, knocking the forehead together as breathless laughter escapes him. You're going to turn into an ornament, aren't you? Lance just grins, admiring how Keith looks this close. Cheeks flushed, eyes dark, and framed perfectly by his lashes, lips red and wet. You bet your sweet butt I am. Keith groans, but it's good natured. Burning his face, Lance. You're such a sap. Lance holds him tight, laugh bubbling at the ridiculousness of the situation. Of the happiness burning warm and bright inside, of how impossible all seems, but how delightfully perfect he feels in his arms. Yeah, but you like it. Yeah, he wants. Pressing his lips against the crystal lens. Yeah, I do. And that is too early. Too early. And that is it. Well, I'm done with got me like Mistletoe. So this is it. I am done with that one fic, but there will be few more fics to go. So let's just keep going and find another fic for you guys that I wanted to get out of the way. Okay, so I've done a lot of hold on a second. So of all the fics that I have, I will tell you which are the ones that I have not read. Yeah, so okay, all the fics that I have not read yet are Got My Partners, In Touch, I got Mistletoe, so I've done all that stuff from here. Okay, A Weird Boyfriends of Full Moons, yeah. Of Stars and the Space Between, of Misunderstandings and Serenades, I think that's why I have not read it. Hope in the Future, of Freedom of Flames, and of Gods and Apples. So yeah, so chapters three, 5, and then 14 and 19. So I've done most of the stuff, but I'm down to just 8 one shot. Okay, so those are the ones that I have not read yet. So let's eliminate those. I'll be right back. Okay, about to spin the next one. So what will be my next pick? I'm gonna read. Oh boy, here we go. All right, it's You Got Me Like Partners. That will be my next pick. So that's chapter 3. Okay, so chapter 3. So this, I'm gonna highlight this one out. Yeah, I can highlight this. Oh yeah, right. This is a one rated M. There's some rated M. So there's involved. There are police detectives. Oh, this is a nice one. And there's gonna be a reluctant partners because they're the partners. Becomes flirting, and then some violence applied to this one, and then some sexual tensions and implications again. We have two implications of violence and sexual stuff, and then some sexual tension stuff. So yeah, there are police attempts now involved for this next week. Yep, it's called You Got My Life Partners. That'll be the next week I'm gonna be reading next week. Since next week is just one shot, the regular one shot. Okay, looks like I'm done for this video. I'll see you guys next time with that next one shot I'm reading. Okay, guys. Goodbye.